Brothers and sisters, fellow party members, it feels like just the other day that we were gathered for our last AGM in what felt like a big moment of celebration for us. It was a celebration because we had just made huge strides forward in the election, and the optimism that we felt at what we hoped would lie ahead. And that's not just for Reform Jersey, but for the whole of the states of Jersey. There were lots of very nice words being spoken at the time. You might remember some of them. Words like inclusivity, collaboration. The government told us that they were going to deliver the change that islanders had voted for. But here we are 1 year later, and it could not be clearer that what we were told would be a better way has turned out to be more of the same. For a government that has been obsessed with vibes over substance, they've actually proven not to be particularly good at the vibes either. And it seems like almost every week the government leadership finds itself caught up in an embarrassing gaffe that more savvy politicians would have seen coming from a mile away. Whether it's taking to a platform to give a tone-deaf speech to hundreds of striking teachers and getting booed off the stage, to completely floundering on a radio interview broadcast to the whole United Kingdom, Jersey's Chief Minister is coming across as weaker and weaker as time goes by. But more importantly than that, they don't have any policies. Whilst our island faces a housing crisis which poses an existential threat to Jersey's future and will place us on a terminal decline if nothing is done, this government has proven to be as inept as its predecessors, proposing nothing constructive and instead outsourcing everything to consultation. And on climate change, the defining issue of our time, but also a huge opportunity to improve living standards for everyone, rather than deliver a just transition where we all benefit, the government instead prefers to spend taxpayers' money on grants for the affluent to buy their second or third vehicle and is building a new private jet hangar at the airport. Just yesterday, the government proposed its budget for the next year, which was described by the Treasury Minister himself as boring. And if Ian Gorse describes something as boring, you can bet it's even worse than that. But it says something very revealing in it. On page 5, it says that it will help ensure islanders enjoy the same standard of living in 2040 as they do today. I'll repeat that. They will help ensure islanders enjoy the same standard of living in 2040 as they do today. Their ambition is not to improve living standards, but keep them where they are. Jersey has already faced 22 years of a real terms earnings freeze, and the Better Way Conservative Coalition's promise to the people of Jersey is that they'll prolong that stagnation for another 16 years. I think that probably sounded better in their heads than it does out loud. But despite all of that, today at this AGM, I think we can still justifiably feel as optimistic as we did on that day last year today. Whilst the Better Way Conservative Coalition fumbles from scandal to scandal, Reform Jersey continues to project itself as a beacon of unity and cohesion in the States Assembly. United by our common values and joint manifesto, our members have been working hard to live up to the promises we made the people of Jersey last year, and we're seeing results from it. Despite being a minority in the States Assembly, we can proudly take credit for the implementation of many policies that will have made life better for the people who we represent. Things like raising the minimum wage to £10.50 an hour and securing a commitment that it will be raised to the living wage. We've extended the popular student bus pass to more young people. We've expanded the eligibility of the community cost bonus, which will see hundreds of islanders with more money in their pockets to help them with the cost of living. We've increased the pensioners' Christmas bonus after it had been completely forgotten about by previous governments. We've improved support for babies born prematurely, and we have delivered free GP visits for children. And I'm going to say we take the credit for that, not the government who have published propaganda claiming credit for it. And despite the odds often being stacked against us in that assembly, it hasn't dampened our spirits and it hasn't stopped us from trying to achieve even more. We still fought hard to remove GST from food. We fought hard to introduce progressive taxation, and we fought hard to implement our housing crisis action plan, because for us, our manifesto is sacrosanct. Where government ministers fumble about trying to remember which way they're meant to vote, including sometimes having to mouth to each other from across the chamber to remind each other which way to go, our members have been united and strong. Where a complete vacuum of leadership has been created by the government, Reform Jersey fills it. And it's for these reasons that I believe our party is on its way to government. Things cannot carry on the way they are now forever. Our island desperately needs change, not just a change in vibes, but a change in the substance. And that moment will come. And under my leadership, and with the support of an extremely talented and hard-working parliamentary party, we will be ready for that moment when it comes. And I hope in this AGM, you'll give us, both our political and our executive leadership, a vote of confidence and support us as we continue to build our organisation into one which is fit to lead a government of Jersey, which will stand for the many and not the few. Thank you very much.